Okay, it's just said this meeting is being live streamed, eh?
Okay. All right. Is it sharing that in full screen, Dave?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I can't see anything on Facebook yet.
Oh, that'll be coming through now. Okay. But in full screen in the time being.
Trying to see why nothing's happening. Discussion. Yeah, I'm not getting anything.
Okay, let me just have a look.
Vic,
How's it, Dave? Dave?
we're having some problems with YouTube. Some people say they can't get onto YouTube. Don't you want to just send me that channel again? I don't know
Okay, all right.
if we're on
I'll
the
go get
correct
it quickly.
address.
Okay, no problem. Okay, I've just confirmed it is definitely there. So
Yeah.
I've had a look at it's there.
I just
So
want to double check that we've given the correct address.
right, there, I've got it there. I've sent it to you.
How?
In WhatsApp.
Okay, thanks.
Dave, is all in order? Can everybody see the YouTube channel?
I believe so. We're just having a problem with Katja in New Zealand, but we'll sort it out.
Okay, cool.
Am I on there, Patrick?
Just speak again, Patrick. You're a bit faint.
Okay, am I on there? Can you hear me, Dave? Morning.
Loud and clear.
Great. Fantastic, guys. Well done. Dave,
Yeah.
are you going to just cue us in then? Is that how it happens?
Yeah. We'll unmute and mute you. Don't worry.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Can you see me?
All good. We're good to go.
Are you got me? Can't figure it out. The host has disabled me, Patrick. That's
that link emailed to this account.
It's on Dave's thing.
I don't have it.
It's on Dave's.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Dave, and I'm going to be looking after you, or should I say perhaps good evening or even good afternoon. Could be good night. We're not sure where you are, but welcome to each and every person from around the world, family, friends. On behalf of Heidi and Katja and Carmen, Jordan, Lyle, and Graham, welcome and thank you for joining us here today. As I say, my name's Dave. It's Dave Crouch. Some people know me as Dave C. I've been asked, honored to have been asked by the family to try and keep things moving today. That's moving along rather than moving, because I think the speeches and the photographs and whatever everyone has to say will be very moving in a spiritual and emotional way. We're going to try and wrap this up in an hour. That's at the request of the family, so we've got a running order that we need to keep going. Can I just ask for the next slide? And a reminder that this is a memorial. Well, it was headed as a memorial service, but in effect, it's a celebration of Hermann's life. And in accordance with the wishes of the family, it's going to be quite simple and a relatively short opportunity for Hermann's family and one or two friends to share and express their memories and gratitude for Hermann's life. I think your support and presence here on Facebook and on YouTube is greatly appreciated by the family, and they've asked you all to please write your memories, share your love and support for the family. So the people who will be speaking are speaking live from around the world. And we ask you just to please bear with us with regards to technology. Some of us are not all completely comfortable with the technology, but we're going to do our best. And then, of course, we're in the hands of the higher power and the gods of technology. So I'm going to now call on Patrick, who is going to lead us in the saying of the Serenity Prayer. If we can just bring up the next slide. Patrick, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. The Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Thank you, Patrick. It's always comforting to start in a way that's, I guess, comfortable to us all. Okay, so now it gives me pleasure to introduce Jutta, who is a family friend and godmother to Katja and Carmen. Those are Hermann's daughters, and yes, a very close family friend. Jutta is going to share some highlights of Hermann's life. Jutta, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Hermann Tietjens was born on the 13th of May, 1938, and he passed on the 14th of June, 2021. Dear Hermann, or should I say, moin moin, you were born in Germany, Neuschöningstedt, on the 13th of May, 1938, under the Earth star sign of Taurus. You were the eldest of 3 children, born to Hilde and Hermann Tietjens. Your father passed away whilst you were very young, and you lost your brother, Werner, when he was only 22 years old. Traute, your younger sister in Germany, will be listening in today's celebration of your life. Your life as a young child, teenager, and adult was very tough and with hardships. Your mom remarried, and Alfred Kroll, your stepdad, came into your life. Then Uwe, your half-brother, was born. After your schooling, you did an apprenticeship at the post office and soon decided to spread your wings to the Southern Hemisphere. Extended family members, Harry and Wolfgang Siebrand, who had already been in South Africa, encouraged you to come to this part of the world, although you had plans to possibly emigrate to the USA. So in 1960, you arrived in Johannesburg, first staying with the extended family in Westdean, and then you moved to Kempton Park, which was closer to work. And work was Rolf Flowers, you being responsible for the export and the import of flowers at the then Jan Smuts Airport. You loved the job at the airport and soon also learned to speak Afrikaans. Not a difficult task, as you spoke Plattdeutsch, a very special German dialect from the very north. From Rolf Flowers, you moved to Diesel Electric selling tools. Oh yes, and I was told that you sold cosmetics out of the boot of your very, very special car, the Triumph, which you had bought, not secondhand, but brand new, and kept this for plus minus 25 years until it could no more. In 1968, you met Heidi Buchmann at the German club in Edenvale, just before your 30th birthday. You did have a party for your 30th, but Heidi was not invited, which she was upset about. And your explanation was that you did not want to be distracted by your new flame, i.e. would have had no time to attend to other guests. Nevertheless, you invited Heidi on a special birthday treat to the Phoenix restaurant in town. From then onwards, your romance blossomed, and you got engaged to Heidi on her birthday, which was on the 26th of January, 1969. And then, no long wait, married on the 6th of December, 1969, which is actually Nikolaustag. Then it was baby time. Katja was born on the 21st of March, 1973, and 3 years later, little Carmen arrived on the 20th of October, 1976. You loved and cherished your two girls and were the most proud father. You then joined Buchmann, the Buchmann family business, Buchmann Furniture Manufacturers, and worked alongside Hans Buchmann, your father-in-law, and Karl, your brother-in-law. All together a happy family, but somehow it was not all happiness, and you sought help with AA and NA. You grew beyond yourself, and soon we realized that there was another family in your life which was very important to you. And this family was integrated into the Tietjens family. I remember many shared birthday celebrations at NA. Baby Katja and baby Carmen grew up into wonderful young ladies. Katja married teenage love Lyle, and you and Heidi became grandparents when Jordan was born on the 7th of July, 2002. Yes, Hermann. Now your pride even grew more with these two additions to the family. Carmen brought in additional joy to your life with a very, very special man in her life, namely Graham. You had the opportunity to spend many short trips to Swaziland to be with Carmen and Graham, every time being a very special time for you, especially when I think of Christmas 2020, which was filled with lots of laughter and happiness. You often spoke about this. Next big step in your life was moving from Observatory to Rosehaven Retirement Village, and that was Easter 2017. All very dramatic and not very easy, but stress and anxiety of the move was all worthwhile, as you and Heidi afterwards said, this is the best thing we could have done. You were just so happy in your new home, having so many ladies around you. And I'm sure those ladies were all very, very happy to have Hermann on call for all the small errands and chores. New Zealand is where Katja and Lyle and Jordan emigrated to 5 years ago. It was very sad for you when they left, but you well understood and accepted their decision. Spent a wonderful time in New Zealand with them all. And when you came back, I could see that you were at peace because you saw with your own eyes how happy they are. Sadly, you have been ripped out of this life very suddenly, being a victim of this horror virus. You fought bravely to the bitter end, and we miss you endlessly. You are in a better place now, and we are also very thankful for you to have been part of our lives. Hermann, we salute you. Adieu and auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you, Jutta. What a beautiful tribute. And I learned some new things about my friend, so I'm sure we all did. Thank you for those beautiful words. I'd like to now call on Katja, who is Hermann's eldest daughter, if you were paying attention to Jutta, and her husband Lyle and Hermann's granddaughter Jordan, all the way from New Zealand. If we can just change the slide, and Katja will read a piece of poetry for us all. Can we just change the slide, please? Katja, over to you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Good evening and good morning. God saw you getting tired is the name of the poem. When God saw you getting tired and a cure was not to be, he put his arms around you and whispered, "Come to me." He didn't like what you went through and he gave you rest. His garden must be beautiful. He only takes the best. And when we saw you sleeping, so peaceful and free from pain, we wouldn't wish you back to suffer that again. Today we say goodbye, and as you take your final rest, that garden must be beautiful because you are the very best.
Beautiful. Thank you, Carmen. That's a wonderful tribute, and the author's unknown, so yeah. we can't even thank somebody for writing those beautiful words, but so beautifully read and chosen. Can we just take the next slide, please, while I introduce Hermann's wife, Heidi, who's going to say a few words for us. Heidi, over to you.
Good morning, good evening. Tschüss, lieber Hermann. Tschüss. Goodbye, Hermann. Goodbye. I am missing you. Thanks.
Thank you, Heidi. Our deepest condolences. I really hope that you're comforted by the fact, by all the writings, beautiful writings, and memories, and we ask just to cherish those memories. To all of you, all of the family, our deepest condolences, and thank you for sharing Hermann with us. If you can give us the next slide, please. I'm going to ask Hermann's youngest daughter, Carmen, to please speak for a little bit about her papa.
Thank you. Good morning and good evening, and thank you for everyone who has joined us today. To my dearest papa, gone too soon, shining down from the stars and moon. Memories of you will always make me smile. If only I could have you back for a while. Your journey took a different path, and I will always remember your infectious laugh. Your love for life and all things sweet. Being in your company was such a treat. Always dressed to the nines and full of pride, you lived your life with a positive stride. You spoilt us girls with so many adventures. To your higher power, you now have surrendered. Your passing has caused much heartache and pain. We'll love and miss you forever until we meet again.
Thank you, Carmen. That is beautiful, beautiful words. And you're so poetic. If I can get the next slide, please, while I introduce Herman back to Herman's eldest daughter, Katja, from New Zealand. And she's going to share some of her memories of her papa.
I just have to say that I think it's very unfair that my sister's gone in front of me because this is just as hard for me, but I'm going to try. 1,000 words won't bring you back. I know because I've tried. Neither will 1,000,000 tears. I know because I've cried. That wasn't meant to be, not yet, not for another 10, 15, 20 years. But life is cruel and unpredictable. So here we are. So many memories. Where does one begin? How can I put 48 years of these memories down on paper? I can't. I just have to hold them close to my heart, as I have done and will continue to do. My papa gave me the love to travel and see the world. Our many trips over the years, from Germany to Switzerland, to Austria and Spain. All the stories he told of his motherland, his youth, his mischief, his adventures, I will forever cherish. I fondly remember our trip to Hamburg. His sister Traute and her husband Klaus always knew that they needed 2 or even 3 cars to collect us from the airport. They always said, Die Zigeuner sind aus Afrika hier, meaning the gypsies have arrived from Africa, because we used to travel as if we were moving in. My dad loved his clothes, and shopping was his highlight. Nobody could make things like the Germans, he used to say. Yeah, Papa, that was always a good excuse for you to spend your money. And so we always had to make sure that we carried an extra bag, or invariably had to buy another suitcase. And we just knew that the luggage would always be overweight on our trip back home. But not to worry. Herman the German could talk his way out of paying the fine. You always could sweet talk your way out of anything. Just like a salesman, you always used to say, if they throw me out the front door, I'll just simply enter through the back door. That year we went to Spain, high summer, and it was hot indeed. Papa didn't need an excuse now to eat ice cream, morning, noon, and night. Ice cream on a stick, ice cream in a bowl. He loved it either way. On one particular night, I woke to find my parents had vanished. Papa had heard music coming from somewhere and said, "Komm Heidi, jetzt geht es los," meaning, "Come Heidi, it's starting." And off they went to find a street party in full swing, only to return in the wee hours of the morning. That was my dad, full of life and only believing in living for today. Your 32 scoops of ice cream at the Mövenpick Hotel in Switzerland, with only a spoon for you. Your Eisbein, Bornbeeren und Speck. Your Bratwurst and Aal, your rote Grütze with Schlagsahne. I could go on forever, Papa. That was my dad, doing things spontaneously, eating things he loved, and just enjoying every moment. He loved life to the fullest. I will miss your laugh, your jokes, even when sometimes you were the only one laughing and you would repeat them over and over again, just in case we didn't get it. Your she'll be right attitude, throwing caution to the wind, one day at a time, don't worry, be happy, the mottos you used to live by. Papa, you were not always perfect, but then again, who is? You lived your life as best you could and enjoyed every day, often sitting there, just smiling to yourself. You loved your girls unconditionally, as well as your son-in-law, even though to this day, you still claim that Lyle never asked you permission to marry me. It's a family joke for many years. I know that you will watch over us, and guide us each and every day through smiles and tears. You will be a part of us. We are even having your long-awaited, you actually, let me say, you, Papa, are having your long-awaited ride in Lyle's log truck as he carries your photo on his dashboard. I can hear you saying to your grandchild, yeah, Geordie, and I know that you will be watching over her too. Go now, Papa, and help others like only you know how. I'm sure there is an NA meeting waiting for you so you can continue your service in heaven. Wherever you may travel, may the ice cream be on tap and you no longer need to joke about having to watch your weight. To end off, I would like to quote a few sentences from Toni Marshall, So lebt dein Leben in German, similar to the Frank Sinatra version of I Did It My Way. Mein Freund, einmal der fällt, doch auch für dich der letzte Vorhang. Du gehst von dieser Welt und dann kommst du an jedem Tor an. Du weißt, deins Lebensweg war manchmal krumm und manchmal eben. Da du dein Grad stehen kannst, so lebt dein Leben. Du hast geliebt, gelacht und getanzt. Es ist nicht viel, was du bereuen musst. Du machst, was dein war, doch du hieltst die Hand aus, auch zum Geben. Denn was war ein Mensch, der keiner ist, der nicht als Mensch, der selber ist, der niemals weint, der niemals lacht, der niemals lügt, nie Fehler macht, der nie gesteht, es ist zu spät. So war dein Leben. Das warst du, Papa. Jetzt geh und leb dein Leben, wie nur du kannst, weiter im Himmel. Yours forever and always, Katja, Lyle, and Geordie, till we meet again. Auf Wiedersehen, Papa.
Thank you, Katja. What beautiful, beautiful words and memories. And for reminding us about these quirks of Hermann. I'm just amazed that the man was so slim. But like you say, he did watch his weight, even though he enjoyed his food so much. If I could get the next slide, and I'm going to ask Graham, who is Carmen's partner. He's speaking all the way from Swaziland. Welcome, Graham, and thank you for your words. If we can just change the slide, there we go. We're good. Graham, over to you. Graham, your mic. There we go. Your mic's good.
Thanks, Dave. Good morning from Swaziland, not Switzerland. Hermann would often say, my daughter lives in Switzerland. The first time I met Hermann about 8 years ago, he gave me a handshake that belonged to a young German bodybuilder. And I knew right away that I must not mess with his daughter. Since that very first introduction, Hermann and I have become very good friends, and I have the utmost respect for him and for what he has achieved in life. Hermann and I talked soccer and sport for hours and hours, and he would often phone me to discuss results, especially when Germany won. Hermann loved Hamburg Football Club, but when he heard I was a Liverpool supporter, he then adopted Liverpool as his team, and every week he would call me to discuss our team. Hermann was so excited that Liverpool won the league 2 years ago, and I'm very happy that him and I got to celebrate together. Hermann loved coming to visit us in Swaziland, and we would relax and laugh for hours and hours. Our last Xmas year, Hermann entertained us for hours, and I will never forget that night. He was so happy with life and enjoying himself. Hermann loved to braai, and every night we would braai and sit around the fire and chat. Real special times. While he was here in December, Hermann asked me if he could come with me when I went to play golf at the Royal Swazi. Hermann then pushed my cart for 9 holes, And every time I asked him if I could help him, he just said no and that he was having fun. He was so fit for his age and loved walking. When we got to the last hole, he asked me if he could try a shot on the green. We then spent 10 precious minutes on that green. It was the first time he had played golf, and I could see he was loving it. Hermann always dressed smartly and had impeccable manners. He taught me one of my best lessons in life. He would always say to me, just stay humble and appreciate what you have. I spoke to Hermann while he was in the ambulance and made him a promise. And my friend, I will stick to that promise. Hermann, as this famous song goes, you'll never walk alone, my mate. I'm going to miss you. Bye now and rest gently.
Thank you, Graham. Wow. I think you spoke for all of us, but thank you for speaking from your heart. If we can just change, thank you very much, Vic. I'm going to now reintroduce Jutta, and that's Carmen and Katja's godmother and very close family friend. I'm sure you can see her in so many of the photos. Jutta is going to share some messages from Hermann's friends. Jutta?
Thank you very much. My first message is from Richard Haas, a very good friend of Hermann, since he actually came to South Africa. An alle Trauergäste. Ich habe einen guten Freund verloren, den ich immer in Erinnerung halten werde. Vom ersten Tag in Südafrika, am 11. Januar 1985, waren Hermann und seine Familie für uns da. Vom Flughafen abgeholt und uns in unsere neue Heimat mit Essen versorgt. Steaks am Grill und vorübergehend Möbel geliehen, bis dass der Auftrag fertig war. Das war Hermann, hilfsbereit in allen Lebenslagen. So werde ich dich in guter Erinnerung halten. Wir trauern mit deiner Familie, dass du so früh von uns gegangen bist. Wir werden dich und den HSV nie vergessen. Hermann, Ruhe in Frieden. Danke für alles. Dein an dich denkende Familie Richard Haas und Ruth Lettner. The second one is from Achim, a family member, I should say, around many corners. In Gedenken an Hermann Tietjens. Liebe Trauerfamilie, gerne möchte ich zur Gedenkstunde für Hermann etwas beitragen. Gemeinsam mit Christiane habe ich mir viele Gedanken gemacht und sie für euch hier zusammengefasst. Im Jahr 1986 befand ich mich, 24-jährig, in einer persönlichen Krise und fragte mich, wie es weitergehen könnte. Da kam mir wieder in den Sinn, dass ich ja ursprünglich einmal vorgehabt hatte, nach meiner Tischlerlehre hinaus in die Welt zu ziehen. So kam es, dass in Gesprächen mit Tante Traute und Günter Wulff die Idee kam, einmal bei Hermann Tietjens in Johannesburg nachzufragen. Und wie es denn so ist, in der Ferne. Und gleich im ersten Telefonat begegnete mir Hermann auf seine unvergleichliche, pragmatische, offene und heitere Art mit der Frage, wann willst du kommen? Hier gibt's viel zu tun. So blieb mir kaum eine andere Wahl, als den Impuls zu folgen, mir schnellmöglichst ein Ticket zu besorgen und loszufliegen. Nach abenteuerlicher Anreise mit großer Verspätung mit Air Portugal TAP holte Hermann mich mit seinem VW-Bus am Flughafen ab. Schon das war sehr beeindruckend für mich. Im Handgepäck brachte ich ihm frisch geräucherten Aal und Kartenrauchschinken aus der Heimat mit. Während meines ersten 3-monatigen Aufenthalts hatten Hermann und ich viele Gespräche über die Heimat, gemeinsame Bekannte und Familienmitglieder. Und auch der Rest der Tietjens- und Buchmann-Familie nahmen mich sehr herzlich und großzügig auf. Mir wurde vieles gezeigt, Ich wurde Freunden und Geschäftspartnern vorgestellt und ich lernte die Firma H. Buchmann kennen. Eines Abends kamen Klein Katja und Klein Carmen angerannt und fragten schüchtern, ob ich ihnen nicht helfen könne, die Spielzeugradios waren kaputt. Und so wurde ich immer wieder mit einbezogen. Meine Kompetenzen wurden geschätzt und ich fühlte mich bald als Teil der Familie. Am Ende der 3 Monate war die Sache klar. Ich wollte auch mein Glück in Afrika versuchen. Hermann und Karl gaben mir einen Arbeitsvertrag und mit diesem in der Tasche flog ich glücklich nach Deutschland zurück, um dort alle Formalitäten für eine ordentliche Immigration vorzubereiten. Am 6. März 1988 reiste ich mit meinem Permanent Residence Visum über den Flughafen Jan Smuts in Südafrika ein. Wieder wurde ich von der Familie Tietjens aufgenommen, bekam ein Zimmer und fing an, bei H. Buchmann als Tischler zu arbeiten. Hermann unterstützte mich sehr dabei, denn er konnte sich selber noch sehr gut daran erinnern, wie er damals beinahe ohne Sprachkenntnisse im fremden Land angekommen war. So war es für mich ein leichtes Fuß zu fassen. In der täglichen Zusammenarbeit habe ich ihn bald sehr zu schätzen gewusst. Er wurde mir zum Vorbild. Seine Lebensfreude zu erleben und ihn dabei zu beobachten, wie er stets Verbindung hielt zur Heimat, zum Beispiel durch das Lesen der importierten Zeitung oder den Besuch bei dem deutschen Schlachter, machte mir viel Spaß. Er hatte selber Freude daran, mich mit allen möglichen deutschsprachigen und anderen netten Leuten in Verbindung zu bringen, damit ich einen leichten Start haben konnte. Natürlich wurde auch ordentlich zusammengearbeitet. Abendliche Spaziergänge zusammen mit den Nachbarn rundeten oft unseren Tag ab. Nach einiger Zeit wurden die Anfragen an mich, den deutschen Tischler, für die Kunden individuelle Aufträge auszuführen, immer häufiger. Und wieder unterstützte Hermann mich dabei, den nächsten Schritt zu tun und mich selbstständig zu machen. Meine erste eigene Wohnung in Norwood ist auch mit seiner Hilfe möglich geworden. Mein Leben verlief weiter recht abwechslungsreich und so kam es, dass ich nach einiger Zeit wieder auf das Gelände der Familie zog. Diesmal in Cottage. Wieder durfte ich die engen Anbindungen ans Familienleben von Hermann und Heidi und den Töchtern genießen. Das setzte sich auch dann noch fort, als Christiane, meine spätere Frau, bei mir einzog. Unsere Heirat, die Geburt unserer Tochter Patricia wurden genauso wohlwollend begleitet und unterstützt. Für mich bedeuten die Jahre in Afrika und die Art und Weise, wie ich durch Hermann und seine Familie unterstützt wurde, einen sehr wichtigen Schritt in meiner Biografie. Ich fühlte mich angekommen, angenommen und richtig, so wie ich eben bin. Nachdem ich mit meiner Frau zurück nach Norddeutschland gezogen bin, wurde unser Kontakt selten, aber wir hatten immer sehr herzliche und interessierte Telefonate. Viel zu wenig persönliche Begegnungen hatten wir in den letzten Jahren. Unser letztes Telefonat hatten wir an seinem Geburtstag. Hermann war wie immer aufgeräumt und gut gelaunt und zuversichtlich. Es war ein großer Schreck für mich, als ich von einer kurzfristigen eingetretenen Erkrankung erfuhr. Viel zu früh und natürlich zum falschen Zeitpunkt ist er von uns gegangen. Durch seinen Tod habe ich den Menschen verloren, der für mich den schmerzlich vermissten eigenen Vater ein wenig ersetzte. Ich schätze mich sehr glücklich, dass er mich so viele Jahre begleitet hat. Wir werden ihn vermissen. Joachim und Christiane aus Deutschland. Danke.
Thank you, Jutta. Are those the 2 messages done, eh? Okay, thank you. You know, I don't understand much German myself, I have to admit that, but I could feel the love and there's not even a word to describe it, that the man was so well respected. So thank you to his friends and to the people who are watching, who are writing on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm sure the family will go back and read your tributes. If we could get there we go. We're on to my friend Patrick, who is, well, Herman's friend Patrick, Herman's sponsor Patrick, Patrick, I've given you the unmute signal. Over to you.
Thank you, Dave, for affording us the opportunity to say farewell to Hermann this morning. Much appreciated from so many of us. My sincere condolences go out to Heidi, Katja, Carmen, Jordan, family, and friends. My dear friend Hermann always looked at the positives rather than the negatives. Therefore, I see this gathering as a celebration for a life worth living. Hermann was intelligent, full of wisdom, had a great sense of humor, and most of all, his heart was filled with love and compassion. He had enormous integrity and a passion to do service for the less fortunate. Having said that, Hermann loved Heidi very much. Many times did he share with me her love for gardening and that he was forever having to dig holes for her new plants. Hermann would put Heidi's health issues above his, rarely complaining about his cancer, loss of sight, hearing. He was more concerned about Heidi's sugar levels. Speaking of sugar, Hermann had a serious sweet tooth and would always remonstrate those sharing a birthday at NA for not bringing cake or enough cake. I recall vividly the first time I met Hermann. I was new to NA at my first convention in Magaliesburg. At the end of the 3-day convention, we all stood around in a circle of maybe 40 delegates. We sang to Amazing Grace. All of a sudden, we heard this loud wailing. Looked up, and there was Hermann, tears rolling down his eyes. This was a very profound display of relief from active addiction and a show of gratitude. With this, I'm sure many others at the convention came to believe like Hermann. We all had a chance for a better life without the use of drugs. It was a spiritual moment brought on by Hermann's vulnerability and humility, which I became accustomed to over the past 24 years. I've got to know Hermann. Another fond memory is when Hermann and I, some 22 years later, attended another NA convention. We stopped off in Krugersdorp at the fancy dress store and hired a Spider-Man outfit for Hermann and a Superman outfit for me. Hermann loved the idea and displayed a naughty, boyish streak he had in him. At the Saturday evening dance, Hermann never got off the dance floor, out-dancing most of us much younger delegates. He was so happy in his Spider-Man outfit, celebrating recovery with his people, as he fondly referred to us. Hermann's devotion and passion passing on the message of recovery is clearly visible when you hear the tribute messages presenting themselves at the celebration of his life, as well as the social media messages by so many. Hermann always put the suffering addict first and went out of his way to get people to meet him, including my son, for which I will forever be truly grateful. We would visit the rehabs to 12-step and support. He couldn't do enough for us. Hermann loved hugging the newcomers, especially the young ladies, and made an enormous impression on newcomers, as I've witnessed most remembering their first encounter with NA and meeting Hermann for the first time. I will miss our chats and your warm company. I feel your spirit is with us. You have left us, but will never be forgotten. Thank you for all the laughs and helping me and so many walk the road of recovery. I love you, Hermann. Rest well, my good friend. Till we meet again at the big meeting upstairs.
Thank you, Patrick. Wow. I think the ability to express emotion after so many years of being numb and unable to express that emotion is a huge gift, and something that I learned from Hermann, and he seems to have taught so many people. Thank you, Patrick. So the family asked me to say a few words, and well, I first have to say how overwhelmed I was when I was asked to MC this event, and all I did, what I was taught by Hermann. We offer our help to people when they're hurting, And so I was a little bit overwhelmed, and I didn't really know what to say, except, yes, sure, I'll help. And then I was asked to speak, and that kind of threw me a little bit more. I had to write stuff down because I can't really speak well. It's written from the heart, but it helps me. So please forgive me if I read. Just like to say that we're giving thanks for the life of Hermann. I mean, he celebrated 30 years clean on the 27th of May. And I believe that celebration was in ICU. And he, I believe, gave the nurses the day of their lives. And I've felt really privileged to have been able to speak to him in a week before he celebrated. And, you know, he was very disappointed that he wasn't going to be at his beloved Forest Town meeting to celebrate. But I know that his birthday, or his NA birthday, was celebrated at that meeting. His medallion, a photograph of his medallion, was sent to the ICU. Thank you, Heidi. When I spoke to Hermann, like I say, him and Heidi were already both in hospital. But, you know, true to form, Hermann was only concerned for Heidi's health, not his own. You know, true to form, he was making jokes and saying to me, well, they've put me in a ward with Heidi, and now I can't even hug the nurses. So, you know, that's what all I've heard today is people speaking about his jokes and his ability to find the lighter side of things. And it's a incredible gift. Hermann was also very overjoyed. I wrote here happy, but he was overjoyed when I told him that we had tracked down the man who originally carried the NA message to Hermann. Hermann had some experience with AA, but the NA message was carried to him when at a treatment center. I think we can mention treatment centers by name, Riverfield Lodge by Faisal B. And we managed to track him down, and he sends his love. And I'm sure that those early memories will be carried through on Facebook and other places. When I told one of the other old timers of Hermann's passing, of course he's devastated. That's Dennis down in KZN. Dennis shared a story of the national convention. This is before South Africa was a region, and the national convention in Magaliesburg, we're figuring it must have been about 1994. And previously it had been agreed that the convention would rotate between the areas, Johannesburg, KZN, and Western Cape. Only two delegates, Dennis and Graham, the late Graham, came up from KZN, and they had to bear the sad news that they didn't think they would be able to hold the convention the following year, as had been agreed. And you know, the Joburg and Western Cape delegates agreed that it would just move on to Western Cape, except Hermann. He wasn't having any of it. He said, we agreed that it was going to go to KZN after Joburg, and it will go to KZN. And if there's not enough people to help organize in KZN, then the Joburg and the Western Cape people will organize help them organize in KZN. And that's what happened. You know, that's just a demonstration of Hermann's adherence to principles. and his word was his honor, and that was that. Hermann, I call him a service junkie. He began his service when he started running his hospitals and institutions meeting at the treatment center that he had attended, and he carried on doing that. I heard a share from him the other day. He says 7 years. I have to disagree with you, Hermann. It was at least 11, because I know the date that I came back to NA and you were still doing that service. So we'll beg to differ on this one. And I mean, many times he would go out to out into the bushes, really. In those days, it really was. It was an hour's journey out into the farmlands, and many times he went alone. I mean, I don't think NA World Services wouldn't be too happy about the fact that he was doing it alone, but that was what Hermann did. If there was service to be done, he did it, whether he was alone or with others. He was also the Johannesburg area treasurer for many years, and the finances were always impeccable. The books were down to the last cent, and they're always balanced. I mean, of course, he was still the treasurer at his beloved home group at Forest Town. And I'm sure the guys will be doing they don't need to do a little audit. Every cent, it will be in that little white bag. Hermann will be remembered with much love and gratitude by every NA member who had the good fortune to meet him. And without any doubt, the messages that I've been receiving are all people remembering when they were a newcomer and how Hermann welcomed them. And that was him, he always put the newcomer first. And he never missed a meeting if he was in town. He gave lifts to addicts and to the meetings and to conventions whenever he could. I mean, the words that have been used to describe him are humble, generous, compassionate, committed, but always kind. Hermann and I go back quite a while. I first met him in 1991 at the Thursday Hillbrow meeting, which eventually became Forest Town when Hillbrow became too dangerous. And I was newly returning again, and he was brand new to NA. But he had, like I said, he had been in AA, so he had knowledge of the 12 steps. And even at that very early stage of his recovery, he was, and I guess he always will be, a beacon of the spiritual principles amongst some, let's call them some unspiritual people. And, we're all learning. And I guess, if we could try to emulate just a little bit of Hermann, we would do very well in our program. So for the next 8 years, and ever since, whenever I returned to the fellowship or attended a meeting or sought guidance, I never, ever felt judged by Hermann. Even when I judged myself, or perhaps others might have judged me, Hermann was just kind and loving and caring. And so more recently, when Hermann's eyesight became a little bit of a problem, I felt privileged to be able to return all the service that Hermann had done for me. On a couple of occasions, I was able to go and collect him at Rosehaven and then bring him back after the meetings. And my memory is of one, after one meeting at Forest Town, Hermann and I were the last two there. The kitchen had been cleaned, the security man had been paid, and those ashtrays, ashtray tins emptied. And, I was starting to get a little bit anxious and wanting to leave and take Hermann home. But there was Hermann bent over in the flower bed. And no, he wasn't trying to get some flowers for you, Heidi. He was picking up stompies. And From what they looked like, some of them must have been there for years. And I was now getting a little bit irritated. I mean, we're both non-smokers. And I said something to her, come on, Herman, we need to go. These are not ours. And they weren't even there from left there tonight. And his reply was, David, as NA members, we need to leave the venue cleaner than when we got here. So I think Herman has left the world a lot cleaner than when he got here. So he is, and I'm using the present tense on purpose because I believe that his spirit is always amongst us, kind, generous, thoughtful, caring, humble, and grateful for his recovery. Any opportunity to fellowship or to carry the NA message of hope to the still suffering addict. He truly lives the NA program. He's certainly somebody whose recovery and his gratitude for the program, every day of recovery, I have and I always try to emulate to the best of my ability. So please, I'm asking everybody to keep Herman and his family in your thoughts and prayers. I think Herman's words that I recall is, you know, I love NA and NA loves me. And maybe we could even change that to say, I love people and people love me. I have one piece of writing that some of it's not my original, but I've changed it a little bit. There is a man. There is a man, a very bright, enchanting man. When he spoke, you awoke from an ignorant sleep. Then one day, then one very, very lucky day, he came across your way. You'll be glad and never sad. For a better friend you never had. There was a man, a very, very giving man, that when he gave, you felt enslaved to his utter charm. With care, he chose a treat for those whom he'd love to spoil. There is a man, a very, very loving man, that when he shared with those who cared, everyone was touched. Across the globe, he conquered those who could share his joy. But then one day, he wandered very far away. To be free, glad that we had a chance to meet. With broken hearts, we thank the stars that he will shine beyond. There is a man, a very, very special man, that when we pause to ponder cause, we expect to see a wonderment of memories to fill our hearts with joy. A greater man you'll never know. The tears will flow, our hearts will heal, but our souls will steal. All the moments in time that we could share, souls are bare for the greatest friend we'd ever known. I just need a moment, sorry. If we can please just change the slide, Vic. Those are Herman's medallions. The first one for 30 years and the second one for his family. That's the infinity medallion, because Hermann is clean forever now. Katja, if we can just unmute Katja and bring up the next slide.
Thank you, Dave, for those very, very touching words. That was truly my dad. And it makes us so proud to hear those words, because that was just him. The poem I'm going to read is His Journey by Elaine Brenneman. Don't think of him as gone away. His journey's just begun. Life holds so many facets. This earth is only one. Just think of him as resting from the sorrows and the tears, in a place of warmth and comfort, where there are no days and years. Think how we must be wishing that we could know today, how nothing but our sadness can really pass away. And think of him as living in the hearts of those he touched. For nothing loved is ever lost, and he was loved so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Katja. Thank you very much for all of your kind words, and our thoughts, and thanks to Lyle and Geordie. If we can bring up the next slide, please. Actually, jump in another one. Sorry, we missed one there, and that beautifully read poem from Katja. If you can bring up the next slide, please, Vic. And it's just kind of ending off. I want to say thank you to the family. I've never done this before, as you can probably tell, but I'm going to call it work, but it was such a pleasure to engage with such a beautiful family. Some decisions had to get made, and it would seem to me that Hermann brought his program into his family, that the traditions are observed in his family, and they were able to reach unity on any decision that had to be made. It was just something beautiful to witness and to be a part of. So thank you to the Tietjens family. Thank you to all the speakers, Jutta and Patrick. Thank you to Vic and to Alan for assisting with the technology and the PowerPoint. And thank you to everybody who joined us online and who weren't able to, but will watch this. And we hope that your hearts are comforted and you're able to celebrate Hermann's life. We do have the Facebook group, and the video is available on YouTube. And if anybody would like to, you're welcome to post on there. The family will see that. But if you want to send any private messages of condolences or memories or video messages or anything, you can use the email address hermanntitjensmemorial@gmail.com. So thank you each and every person. If we can get a new slide, and Carmen is going to say a few final words.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. So I'd just like to thank everyone who joined us today. I think it's been the most amazing tribute to my dad. Dave, thank you for being the host and working on many aspects which were just too large for me to cope with in this time, but I really appreciate all your efforts, the pictures and the slides, and putting everything together. To Victor and Alan for all the behind the scenes work, for making the live stream work when it wasn't working minutes before we were due to start, for setting up the Facebook pages, and just for the smooth running of everything. It's worked remarkably well. To Patrick for sharing, thank you so much. A wonderful tribute to my dad. To my amazing family, my mom, Katja, Geordie, Lal, Graham, Jutta, Thank you for everything. To everyone who joined us online and who will keep my dad's memory alive, our papa's memory alive, and the celebration of his life. We thank you for all the messages, the phone calls, the WhatsApp. They've all been read and greatly appreciated. We may not have responded to everyone. There were so many, we actually lost track. So it just shows how loved our Papa was, our Herman. And just to end off with one of Papa's well-known phrases, when you asked Papa how he was doing, he would always say, "I'm on top of the world." And he definitely is that now. He's looking down on all of us. Rest gently, Papa. We will love and miss you forever. If we could just raise a glass, if you've got anything by your side. I know my Papa used to drink his Coke Light or Tab or anything that was sweet or delicious. Cheers to my Papa, our Hermann.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, thank you, Carmen. We're going to call on Jutta, who's going to say the Our Father prayer in German.
Thank you. Vater unser, der du bist im Himmel, geheiligt werde dein Name. Dein Reich komme, dein Wille geschehe, wie im Himmel so auch auf Erden. Unser tägliches Brot gib uns heute und vergib uns unsere Schuld, wie auch wir vergeben unseren Schuldigern. Und führe uns nicht in Versuchung, sondern erlöse uns von dem Bösen. Denn dein ist das Reich, die Kraft und die Herrlichkeit in Ewigkeit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jutta. Thank you to everybody for participating. That's the end of the program, official program. There's going to be some pictures and music and an opportunity for people to post their messages on the video, on the live stream. And I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. It's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you, Vic. You can go to music now. Farewell, Herman.